Hey guys, today I'm filming my top 16 disappointing products of 2016. I did film one of these videos last year. I had some excellent feedback from you guys. I'll have last year's video linked up here, and I decided I wanted to do it again this year, and I think maybe keep it being a tradition, doing a yearly favorites and a yearly disappointing products. So before we get started, I do have a couple of disclaimers. First off, I don't have all of these products here to physically show you. I have about half of them. The other products I have returned. Also, please note that the title of this video is disappointing products, not product fails, not crap products. In this video, there are a couple things I think are absolute garbage, but I also have quite a few things that are just average. And because I have such a large collection, I don't want to hold on to things that are just okay. I only want to keep things that I think are great and that I love. With some of these items, there was so much hype around them, I'd gotten so excited, and when I tried them out, they were just mediocre. Also, if I mention something you love, please do not be offended. Everyone has different opinions. Makeup works differently for everyone. Just because something doesn't work for me doesn't mean that it will not work for you, and vice versa. I will have all the items listed in the description box, and I have reviews on almost all of these, so I will be linking those down below as well if you want more information on the products. So now, just getting started, the first three products are all foundation type things. First is the Revlon Colorstay Oily Combo Foundation in the shade 150 Buff. This shade works really well for me, and that used to be my holy grail foundation. It was actually the very first foundation I ever used back in 2010, and it was amazing. Over the years, the packaging has changed for the better, but the formula has changed for the worse. So the packaging has kind of had three phases, and the formula has changed each of those times. I'll try to make a little picture so you guys can actually see how I'm able to tell by looking at the packaging what version it is. So the packaging now comes with a pump, and let me tell you, it is probably the best pump I've ever used on a foundation. It is so smooth. You're able to really control it. It doesn't stick at all. It's an amazing pump, so that's definitely a bonus. But the negative is the formula. Back in 2010, when I very first tried it, it was full coverage, it had a matte finish, and it lasted all day on my skin and really helped to control my oils. Over the years, since the formula has changed, with 2 layers, I'm able to get light, medium, maybe medium coverage. It has a natural finish, and it really does not hold up against my oils well at all. And because I fell in love with that old formula, this new one just does not compare. I have tried the foundation in all 3 of its stages of change, and the first one was the best, and the other 2, they're just not good anymore. And I know a lot of people really love that foundation, and I would still recommend it. They have a great shade selection, and it is a really nice price. But I think definitely because I tried the old and fell in love with it, that I just can't fall in love with the new, so that's definitely a disappointing product for me. Next, I have the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless Foundation. I have the shade 110 Porcelain. If you guys have been subscribed to my channel for this year, you've probably heard me mention this a bunch of times. And the 110 Porcelain shade is great for me. It is very fair and yellow. It's actually about a little too light for me, so I do like mixing this with something else. So this foundation is said to be one of the best drugstore foundations for oily skin and have amazing medium buildable to full coverage. I do not find that to be true on myself. Now, I have super oily skin. I also have a lot of redness and some acne that I need to cover up. So when someone says a product is medium or full coverage, I definitely will put that to the test. And everybody has different opinions. If you have skin that has like a tiny bit of redness, a tiny bit of discoloration, it might seem full on you. But if you have a lot of things to cover up like I do, it really is not going to be impressive. With 2 layers, this is also light, medium, buildable to medium coverage. This does not control my oil, and it does not last all day in my skin. Definitely around probably 7 hours or so, it starts to break up, which I don't like. So as much as this is raved about, this was like torture to finish this up. I ended up mixing this with another foundation to make it work for me, but I do not recommend this for oily skin. If you have normal skin looking for a matte foundation, I think it would be great. But if you have oily skin like me, I don't think this is going to do enough to control your oil, and I also do not like the coverage. The third product is the NYX Pro Foundation Mixer in the shade White. They do have a couple different shades in that range, and I was so excited to try it out. Because I do have such fair skin, it is almost impossible for me to find a shade match. So I was really excited to get that product to mix in with my other foundations, and it was definitely disappointing. First off, it did not have very much pigment to it. I had to add so much of the mixer to my foundations to lighten them, so that was definitely a bummer. And also the texture was kind of like a thick gelish moisturizer, so the more I was adding, the thicker it was making my foundation. And I don't really mind a thick foundation, that doesn't bother me too much, but if I'm already using a thick foundation and then adding in a thick mixer, it just feels like too much of heavy makeup. And also, it didn't give any more coverage because it wasn't that strong of pigment. So that was a real big disappointment for me. I was so excited to try it out. I have heard that the Body Shop Lightning Drops and the Manic Panic Dreamtone Foundation are a lot better, so I would recommend trying those out. If you guys haven't followed me for the past probably 2 years, I have been raving about the Hard Candy Glamoflague Foundation in Porcelain. That is my #1 all-time mixer, and that's probably because it's a foundation, so it gives great coverage. It has a great consistency, not too thick or thin, and the Porcelain shade is super fair with a yellow undertone. So if you are looking for a mixer, Hard Candy Glamoflague and Porcelain is amazing. The NYX Pro Foundation mixer was just a letdown. Not enough pigment and way too thick. The next product is the Wet n Wild Ombre Blush. I had the shade in a purple haze, and it retails for $5, and those blushes are Target exclusives. They come in 3 shades. I was so excited to try them because I think that ombre blushes are gorgeous, and also I really wanted a lavender blush. I am very fair, like basically a sheet of paper, 3 layers of that blush, it would not show up in my skin tone. And the other shades are just as light. And I could see like the product on my face, but not the pigment. So it just looked like chalky on my cheeks. It was not cute at all. And just the fact that as light as I am and basically little to no pigmentation that I got, I don't see how it could work for any skin tone. So I did return that because what a freaking bummer. No pigment at all. It was a really chalky formula. I would definitely recommend the regular Wet n Wild blushes over those. They are way more pigmented and I think maybe even a little bit cheaper. My next disappointing product is one that people love. I mean, I don't think I've heard anybody say any negative things about it, but it doesn't work for me. I love doing first impressions on foundations and brow products, so I've tried a ton. And this is the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Definer. I have the shade Blonde, and I've used it up, but I put it back in this little container. So this is L'Oreal's version of the Anastasia Brow Wiz in the NYX Micro Brow. The format looks exactly the same. You have a super duper tiny precise pencil, and then you have a really nice spoolie on the other side. So the concept is definitely very similar, but the formula I did not like on this. The NYX Micro Brow is my holy grail. So because they are like the same format, I can definitely tell pairing them up formula to formula what I like and what I don't. This one is way too waxy for me. While it might help hold my brows in place like a tiny bit, like not even a lot, I am not able to get that much pigment. So something I always mention in my brow product videos is that I do have thick brows. So I don't really need to fill in a ton out here, but I don't have any front. So it is the most important thing for me for a brow pencil to draw onto skin. This does not draw onto skin very well at all. I have to go over the same spot like 20 times to get the pigmentation. I use this up in a month, which is way faster than I have used any other brow pencil. I think this is a little cheaper than the NYX. I think this is 9 instead of 10, but like that's still a lot for something to use up in a month. And the reason I used it up so quick is I had to go over the same spot over and over and over and over again to build up the pigmentation, and that is just not acceptable for me. Like I said, I really can see the difference between this and the NYX because the format is the same, but the formulation is not. I like the NYX because it has more pigment, it is more creamy, but I don't feel like it slips all over the place. So a lot of people love this, but it does not work for me. Next, I have another brow product, the Maybelline Brow Pomade Crayon. I did do a first impression on it, and I really did like it the first time I used it, but after that, no. It is such a thick, chubby pencil. It is not going to work for very many people. I have pretty thick brows, so it did work for me the first time I used it, but it is kind of creamy, so the tip wore down really quickly, and after that it was so thick there was just no way that I could draw it on my brows without drawing it all over my skin. It did have nice pigmentation, the formula was nice, but it was just way too thick of a pencil. The next product is something that a lot of people rave about as well. It is the Milani Brow Fix Kit. I had the light shade. It comes with a shimmery highlight color and then 2 different brow colors, a lighter and a darker, and it did not work for me. Now, I love me some brow powder. I do have some holy grails that I reach for all the time, but that one was just a bummer. It seemed really pigmented when you swatched it. The color was great, but it didn't really stick to my skin very well. It did stick to my brow hairs, but not to my skin, and I felt like I really had to layer it to get up the pigment, and it also was going on kind of patchy. My next product is one that I feel like is just okay. It is the L'Oreal Mono eyeshadows. I had the shade Teal Couture. That formula is very unique. It is in between a powder shadow and a color pop shadow. As you know, color pop is like right between powder and cream, but the L'Oreals are a little more on the powdery side. So they're right between powder and the ColourPop formula. And the line does have some great neutrals, a few colorful shades that I feel like are pretty wearable. They also have really pretty shimmery shades and satin finishes as well. So the color selection is okay. I chose the Teal Couture color because the rest of the shades I wasn't interested in. When these first came out, I did hear a lot of people rave about them. But for me, this is a product that is just okay. Because that formula is so weird, I had a really hard time figuring out like what brush to apply it with and how best to make it work for me. And using a flat synthetic brush, I was able to get it to apply nicely. But the thing is, because that formula is so finicky, I knew it was going to sit in my collection and never be used. So for that reason, I went ahead and returned it because I knew I wasn't going to use it. And that's a product I don't think is bad, but because it's kind of a finicky formula, for me, it's mediocre. Next, I have 2 eyeshadow palettes that I have done palette of the month videos on, where I review them, show you swatches, show you looks, and give you my overall opinion on the palette and the formulation. I will have those linked down below. And the first one is the Dose of Colors Hidden Treasure palette. So this is what the palette looks like. It is so beautiful. I purchased this because it was raved about on Instagram. I think the matte shades are fantastic, and the metallics are the most gorgeous colors ever. That is why I purchased this palette. They're super shimmery, very metallic, but this formula is not good. The metallics, especially Coin, which is probably my favorite shade of color, but the formula is the worst. They chunk off all over the place. Even if you use a glitter primer, a cream base, you pat them on with your finger instead of sweep them, it doesn't matter. You can try all of the tricks in the book that work for everything else, but it does not work for this. I got glittery metallic pigment all over my face, into my eye. It was just such an annoying, kind of painful process that it's just not worth it. And I love these colors. I absolutely love the shades. I think they're stunning. So metallic, so gorgeous, but no, they just chunk off all over the place. This is a palette that you definitely have to apply your eye makeup first, and I never do that. I don't like doing it, but with this palette, I feel like I have to because the cleanup is just, it's just too much. And my second palette is the Kat Von D Interstellar palette. So as you can see, this is a cool tone palette. You have some really pretty taupe and purple shades. This is one that not a ton of people talk about because it seems like most people on YouTube are all obsessed with warm tones, but poor cool tones never get any love. I think the colors in here are absolutely stunning. This shade right here is my absolute favorite. I wish she sold this as one of her single shadows and I would buy it in a heartbeat. I love this color so much. So the Kat Von D eyeshadow formula reminds me of Lorac, which I don't like. I don't like them because they're super powdery, but the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette is really powdery, but I can look past it because of the formula and the way it blends. The Kat Von D shadows blend so much that they just turn into a muddy mess. And I was just watching a video from Chelsea Gray, and she said like they blend together and just look like a shade of brown. No matter which ones that you use, it just blends out to look brown, which is totally true. So I love doing monochromatic eyes, and I had worn this shade on the lid, this as my transition color, and this is my crease color. While these are all the same undertone, I feel like these are three distinctly different shades. When I applied and blended out those eyeshadows, they absolutely looked just like one shadow. Just one messy brown shadow over my lid, and just no, this formula is just too hard for me to work with. I'm used to working with things that are harder pressed, and even with things like the Anastasia, that formula works better, that they blend out beautifully. This one either looks patchy or muddy. So while I love these shades, especially this one, this palette was just a big disappointment for me. I think that Kat Von D may have discontinued this palette. I think you can buy it maybe in a set on Sephora right now and on Kat Von D's website, but I don't believe this is individually sold at Sephora anymore. Next, I have two disappointing mascaras, one drugstore and one high-end. The drugstore mascara is the L'Oreal Voluminous Miss Manga Rock Mascara. I know a lot of people love the original, but this one, girl. So this is what the wand looks like. It looks like a plastic Christmas tree. There are like no bristles on this. They are so tiny, short little spikes that they aren't really able to get through the lashes. And because of this brush, in between these little spikes is just like a flat layer, but because there is not enough distance between the actual like plastic wand and the little tiny bristles, product gunks in there. So when I go to apply this to my lashes, I get such a chunky, thick base of mascara at my lashes that I can't even see. Like literally all I can see is this thick chunk of mascara that looks like I have a caterpillar on my eye. It is terrible, and it just does not work through the lashes very well at all. It is such a thick, wet formula that I hate it. And I love wet mascaras, but this brush, no. It just deposits like half the tube at the base of your lashes, and no, I'm not able to work it through. It's just so god awful. I would never ever recommend this mascara. And my high-end mascara is a little sample of the Diorshow, which people have been raving about for years, but not for me. This is a natural bristle brush. It is a wet formula, and this is a really large applicator that reminds me of the Revlon Grow Luscious. This large and standard shape of an applicator does not work for my lashes in the first place, so I never really liked this type of wand. But that's not even the bad part. This smells like straight up baby powder roses, grandmother's house kind of a smell, and it is strong, and that for mascara is disgusting. I can smell it when I'm applying it, I can smell it when it's dry, I can smell it on my face throughout the day. That's disgusting. No, why would you ever make a mascara scented? People put that on their eyes. People have sensitive eyes. Like, the eye is a sensitive area for no matter who you are, and such a strong fragrance like this, hell no, and it smells disgusting, and the mascara itself doesn't do anything for me. And lastly, I have 4 lip products. I love testing and reviewing lip products, and I do have really sensitive lips that tend to be more on the dry side. I apply lip balm like all day long, so I am really picky about my lip products, and I can be pretty harsh on them. The first thing is the MAC VelvetTease lip pencil. It reminds me of the NARS matte lip pencils. It does have more of a thin formula. It draws on really nicely. And first off, that color selection is very bland. I had the shade Frolic, which was a light peachy shade because I love peaches. The color was really pretty, but it wasn't really that pigmented. I felt like I was trying to apply a couple layers and I couldn't really build it up. That definitely could be because of the shade that I have, but honestly, I don't have very many nudes in my collection where I have a problem getting pigmentation, so that was definitely a bummer. Also, it felt like slippery, like silicone, and I don't like that. I know there are a couple other lip products that are similar to that, and I just don't like that primer texture on my lips. I feel like it's gonna slip and slide around and not stay in place. The next thing I have is the NYX Liquid Suede lipsticks. I have also tried the Lip Lingeries, which I definitely prefer over the Liquid Suedes. I have the shade Tea and Cookies, which is a really pretty light medium pink shade. super pretty, but that formula, no girl. First off, it is a great color selection. They have some nudes, some bright, some deep, some funky colors, and they did just expand the shade range. So I think the color selection is absolutely fantastic. They're also super duper pigmented, which I love. Those are things I like. The things I don't like, first off, it never completely sets. It always stays sticky or tacky. No matter how long you have it on, it does not completely set. And I just find that super annoying, and I'm constantly like, no. Also, the wear time is terrible. I was wearing it to church. I wasn't eating, drinking, talking, nothing. Then 3 hours later, after I applied it, I looked at it in the mirror. Girlfriend, it was completely worn away in the center. I had that white inner ring, and it had settled into every single line on my lips. It looked so bad, and I hadn't done anything, and it had only been 3 hours. Like, no, freaking no. That is so disappointing. And I've tried so many liquid lipsticks, even ones that don't set 100%, that wear better than those. 3 hours? No, I would rather just wear a regular lipstick and have it fade evenly than look like that. Just no. Next, I have another liquid lipstick. This is theBalm Meet Matte Hughes. I have the shade Committed, and I know a lot of people really love these, which is why I got one. And no, this is a product that I do not hate. I just think this is okay. I definitely was disappointed by it because a lot of people said this is their like all-time favorite liquid lipstick brand. So I think that the color selection is really nice. Most of these are more on like the wearable side and the natural side. They do have a couple bright pinks and some really pretty deeper reds, but I would say that besides the bright pinks, the whole shade selection is really wearable. I love the packaging. The balm is so creative, and the formula of this is like right between liquidy and moussey, which I like. This color is so stunning. These smell like Thin Mint cookies. This is a formula that does not set completely. It doesn't feel as sticky and tacky as a NYX Liquid Suede, but there definitely is a little bit of tackiness, and after a while it does start to annoy me, and I will do like, and it's just because I'm like so hypersensitive about my lips. For someone that isn't so hypersensitive about their lips, the little sticky tackiness might not bother them, but for me it just like drives me crazy. But the big negative about this is that it fades. In my review, I was wearing a lip liner and I applied this on top, and at first I thought the faded look was because I was wearing a lip liner, but I have tried this by itself without a lip liner and I get the same thing. It fades in the center really quickly without eating or drinking, just normal talking. It fades in the center within a couple of hours, and with the color I have, it almost looks like an ombre, so I am able to make it work because I think the color is gorgeous. On to my very last thing, that would be 2 Dose of Colors lip glosses. I feel like I've been hating on Dose of Colors in this video. They only have a couple products in their line. I really enjoy their liquid lipsticks. I think those are fantastic. So if you want something from Dose, I would recommend the Ice Cream palette. I want to try it. A lot of people really love that one. People that I trust on YouTube love that one. And the liquid lipsticks are great. The lip glosses, girlfriend, and maybe it's because of the shades that I have. I, again, purchased these because everybody on Instagram was wearing them. I have these shades Bellini and Rosé. So pretty. Bellini has some golden shimmer, and I don't love this one, but Rosé, I think this color is so pretty. So I definitely love the shade of this, and I think that the applicator is nice. It is like a flat doe foot, and these are full coverage glosses, which is awesome. So you do not have to pair these with a lipstick or anything else. On their own, fully opaque, which is lovely, and they are smooth. They're not sticky, but the number one reason why I despise these lip glosses is because they feel like sand. I have heard that from a few other people, but not from a ton. But literally, these feel like someone took this gloss to the beach, took a funnel, and just dumped in like a whole crap ton of sand and just mixed it around. It's disgusting. You can feel it on your lips like gritty, grainy sand. What? How did this get through production and get out there for people to buy when it feels like sand? Like, it doesn't hurt, but it feels grainy. It is so weird and so uncomfortable. And like, why? Who would be like, yes, please, give me a sandy lip gloss? That sounds like an amazing texture I would love to wear in my lips. Like, who would think that? Who would say that? I love the colors, but the formula, just, I can't. Sand. Like, what the crap? I do not get how someone was like, yeah, this formula is like A+. No, 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 no. Do not buy the Dose of Colors lip glosses. They will feel like sand. So guys, that was my top 16 disappointing products of 2016. If you guys have tried these products and you like them, please, please, please let me know how you make them work for you, because especially the ones that I still have, I want to find a way to work with them. I would also love to know which products that have disappointed you this year. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye guys.